Welcome back to a very happy tech indeed. Because for 20 points in autumn of Series 38, you can go ahead and grab yourself the Subaru WRX from 2022. Been a while since I've had one of these, I'm glad we have one. This thing makes 271 brake horsepower while pushing out 258 foot-pounds of torque and weighing just a shade under 3,300 pounds. So it's a little heavier in comparison to, Subarus of old, but I've got to say it does still have the styling. I don't like so much what they've done at the front. I feel they could have just kept what they did with the 2015 SUBIE and just tacked that on the front and went with this new back as well. But also it feels weird not having a wing on a SUBIE. Where's the wing? So going over to the inside, to our right here in the center console, we've got a Subaru Starlink little sort of, infotainment system. We've also got ourselves some wonderful dials in front of us. And now let's go ahead and take a listen to that beautiful boxer engine. I can't get over just how happy I am that we have a new SUBIE and it sounds so good. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump over to conversions, to engine swaps to see what we've got. We've got a few. We've got a 6.2 litre V8, we've got a 2 litre flat 4 turbo rally, and we also have a 4 litre flat 6. If you want to, you can also go ahead and make this thing rear-wheel drive, but I think just for the sake of, come on, it's a SUBIE, we're going to go ahead and keep this thing all-wheel drive. Going to aero and appearance, this is the bit that I have been waiting for quite a while. We of course have got ourselves some stuff from Aeroflow Dynamics. We've got a front splitter from them. We also have ourselves two different wings. We've got kind of like a little, I guess, ducktail for this thing, which is okay. But then we've got this wing as well, which arguably looks a absolute, just a ton better. As for the rear bumper, we have got this from Aeroflow Dynamics, which just gives us a massive rear splitter, which looks absolutely fantastic. And then to finish it off, we of course have got the side skirts as well, to give ourselves a full Aeroflow Dynamics kit, which looks absolutely evil, and I love it. As ever, our wonderful mechanic Mac is back once again with a brand new race tune for us. Let's go ahead and bring up the share code. There it is. Feel free to go ahead and grab that for yourself, and I'm going to do that now. So with these upgrades, we are now at 2,580 pounds in weight with 350 brake horsepower straight up to the top of A-class. So going over to the paint shop, we now have ourselves three different paint groups to choose from. So let's go ahead and see it. Paint group number 1 is the main body of the car. What is paint group number 2? I'm very, very intrigued. Okay. Paint group number 2 is, I guess, like these things here, which is very, very interesting. And what does that make paint group number 3? I'm genuinely intrigued. Oh! Okay, so apparently paint group number 3 is like this bit at the front, the sides, and the just above the rear bumper, I guess. That's pretty cool. But it's just as cool as the manufacturer paint colours, because we've got ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different colours to choose from. And oddly enough, I kind of like the white. The only thing I don't like is how long it takes to save the paint. So according to Subaru's official page for the colour listing, this colour, the white on this thing, is known as ceramic white, which is very, very interesting indeed. But honestly, I would love to see one of this generation of Subaru. I'd love to see it in person, honestly. I've seen a lot of the older ones. The Blob Eye is still my all-time favourite, but the 2015 is not too far from that as well. And this one's okay, but I think they just need to alter the styling just a tiny little bit, but I would still love to see one of these in person. And away we go, we're now up against a whole bunch of other various assorted vehicles. We've got some Mitsubishis, we've got some more Subies as well, so it'll be interesting to see just how well this thing can do with its 150 brake horsepower, because it does look good. But what's the point of a car looking good if it doesn't have the performance to match? The stats it does have to match are how many of these things were manufactured, sitting at just over 18,600, which is, for this year, quite a fair few of them. And again, looking at Subaru's website, the specific model that has been scanned for this game looks to be the Subaru WRX Limited Edition, which is very, very interesting indeed. Another thing that's interesting is the price of this thing, because its retail value is $29,605 US. And for those of you wondering what it is in Great British pounds, like myself, that'll be on screen now. Either way, it's a lot of money for a car like this, and I don't know if that price is actually good for this or not. I mean, Subarus are a beautiful car, don't get me wrong, they do hold their value, but I guess, 29,000 for something that looks like this? I mean, to be fair, it does still rate higher than the hatchback, so it's got that going for it. Never was a fan of the hatchback design. Anyway, 95% and one road sign later, we are near the finish line. There's a massive gap between us and everyone else, and across we go with a very, very well-deserved first place and a time of 2 minutes 9. So a very good result in that race, but now we're going to go ahead and do everything which I think every Subaru owner is probably going to yell at me at, including myself when I go back to edit this. We're going to chuck a V8 in this thing, and then we're going to go ahead and get it ready to go drag racing. Hearing a V8 out of this just sounds so wrong. And of course for turbos, you know, we've got to go ahead and give it some anti-lag. So after all those upgrades applied, we're now sat at just around £2,746 in weight with over 1,010 brake horsepower, just around, I say, just above the middle of S1. As to how this thing will perform, I have no idea. The only thing now is I've got to go ahead and try and sort all these gears out. Oh dear. So here we are now over at the back of the Festool. Let's go ahead and get a wheelie check. Do we get anything? Actually, yeah, we kind of do. Honestly, that's kind of impressive. I was not expecting that. In the meantime, here we are now over at the drag strip. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves onto some launch control, and away we go. Remember, over 1,000 brake horsepower in this thing, but nearly 2,700 and something pounds. I forget the exact number, but this thing is still a pretty speedy indeed. What do we get through the camera? 193, and off the end of the drag strip, we've got 217 and absolutely zero brakes. You'd have thought I would have learned that by now. In the meantime, now we have to go ahead and get this thing prepped for top speed. So we're going to go ahead and throw on some good old-fashioned semi-slick tyres, because we are definitely going to go ahead and need those. And we're also going to go ahead and go back to springs and dampers. And where is the race suspension? There it is. This thing sits so much lower to the ground now. And now we're going to go ahead and put the Porsche motor back in here, because I believe that's what that engine is. I'm not quite too sure, but I'm not keeping a V8 in this thing a moment longer. But at the end of the day, we still need the anti-lag. So with those upgrades, we're now a slight bit heavier and also a bit less power, but for the sake of everybody's sanity, I think it was for the best. Before we go any further, here is this week's Forzathon shop. We've got the Koenigsegg Jesko, which is currently one of Forza Horizon 5's fastest cars, so definitely go ahead and pick that up while you can. We have the Hot Wheels Orange Hoodie, we also have the Hot Wheels Cruise Socks, the Mercedes-Benz G63 AMG 6x6, that was very, very confusing to say, and also the Hot Wheels Guitar Stadium Car Horn, which sounds a bit like this. Very, very nice. And I also butchered those words. But we've also got the Horizon Super Wheel Spin and the regular Horizon Wheel Spin. And now let's take ourselves out to the motorway. And now it is once again time for the ever famous game show that nobody asked for, which is how close can I get to that one grade on the motorway? I'm going to say maybe around here. I'm going to hope so, because, well, we've had a lot of practice at this. But, well, I just hope it's close. Let's go ahead and wait for this loading screen to finish, well, loading. And hopefully we should be either near it or on it. No, the answer's no. It's miles away. One of these days I'll get that right. Anyway, here we are now at the edge of the motorway, so let's go ahead and get ourselves on launch control once again, and away we go. Let's go ahead and see what top speed we can get out of this thing. I know it probably could have been higher with the V8s, but with the Porsche motor, I still think this thing stands a good chance. And out of the speed zone at 239.92, which is pretty good indeed, and we are still accelerating, albeit slowly, but we still have the downhill and speed cameras to go, so let's go ahead, get there, and see what speeds we get. And there we go, through the camera, 249 points, I believe that was 06, going downhill, 254, 255, and I think, yeah, 256, we still have a lot of room for acceleration with the other engine, but 256 with the 4-litre flat 6 is not bad at all. If you think you can get quicker than that, let me know. And now we've got one more test. But before that, let's make this thing look a little nicer. There we go, that looks better. Alright, there we go, now into the drift zone. Our car is looking a lot more stylish than it did a few moments ago. Let's go ahead and see if it can apply that style to a drifting, and it can. 40,095 points on the first run. For this thing, that's pretty good. And now let's go ahead and see what it can do going back the other way for run number 2. It's got 40,000 points to beat. I don't think it'll be that, but I know it will sure as anything try and get close at 34,823 points and one wall. That might have actually been a bit more of an expensive crash than I thought. Oops. But in the meantime, that is the 2022 Subaru WRX. I've made it look a little nicer because I wasn't a fan of all that plastic trim. There's another car over there just doing car things, I guess. But that is this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. It is currently only at 20 points and you have got until Thursday to go ahead and get one of them for yourself. Also, apparently someone else has found me and just decided to drive along. That's cool. I have a very nice car too. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to go ahead, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that cool stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Tech out. See ya. Now to chase down a skyline.